are you doing the rest of your life? North and south and east and west of your life.
This is Pamela Kuhn, and the curtain is up on Center Stage, the show about the arts and the artists behind their work. Every once in a while, in the world of entertainment, a special performer comes across my path. One who I can laugh with, admire, lean on for more understanding of the world of singers, and just sit back and remain in awe of the fresh, childlike joy that they still sustain. My guest today is that performer. We have never met before, but I feel that we have known each other for a long time because we are bound by the love of singing, composers, and the crazy thrill of being an architect of our own art form. So I'm thrilled to introduce singer, author, actor, and Broadway star Melissa Errico today on Center Stage. She is the Tony-nominated star of Amore, composed by her mentor and good friend, the late Michel Legrand. Her work with Stephen Sondheim is dizzying and has left the world with 2 recordings of his songs, Sondheim Sublime and Sondheim in the City. Known for her starring roles on Broadway, including Les Mis, My Fair Lady, White Christmas, Dracula, and Anna Karenina, she has also graced roles in television and film screens with Blue Bloods, The Knick, and Billions. And she writes as a contributor to the New York Times in beautifully crafted stories of the realities of being a performer. Melissa Errico now delves into the lore of history, the mystery and songs of World War I in her new show, The Story of a Rose, a musical reverie on the Great War. To me, this strikes a perfect resonance in the political landscape of our present time. With one performance on May 7th at the Schlesinger Center in Alexandria, Virginia, this show will be live streamed for the world to behold. Melissa Errico, welcome to Center Stage. You are a special light within the backdrop of sound. I am so thrilled to have you.
Oh my goodness, Pamela, at the minute, I just thank you for that ebullient, introduction. You made me realize that one of my tangential goals in my future in my life is to write about a book about, like Whitney Balliet did, about singers, yourself and Susanna McCorkle and all these, Mary Clearhair, and it's a specific life to be a girl dedicated to song. And
It is.
yeah, and I'm
It
so happy
is.
to meet a fellow chanteuse and songbird.
Exactly.
So thank you. Thank
Ditto.
you.
Ditto, my dear. I admire you greatly. But I've just got to say, your writing, it's done with such humor. It's done with such candidness. I love it. I just loved it when you were talking about traveling with your hair extensions.
Yeah,
I loved it when you're talking about the ukulele that you take and
yeah.
how dear it is and how just the mere presence of it, people respond as if
Endears, yeah, it's
they love
dear, and
you.
it endears you to people. Like if you're walking through the, airport, and you have a ukulele on your back, there's something about a ukulele. It's like having a puppy. People all like you, do you play? They think it's a violin or they think it's a small guitar. They know it's something. Some would think it's a ukulele, but there's something so charming about this little guitar on your back, and it creates this little aura, like a whimsical identification, that you're
Yeah,
going to just pass through customs and things and lines and get your coffee. And, anyway, it's
it
just funny.
endears you to everyone, and I'm sure that's a beautiful thing while you're traveling. I mean, the
Yeah, or everybody
travails.
worries about it. Like they don't want it to get crushed and like, it becomes,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. You're right. It is like a puppy where they care more about the puppy than you. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, exactly. Everybody loves the puppy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so
well,
wonderful.
tell me, I'm just dying to know, when did you fall in love with singing?
Oh, well, it's funny because she just texted me the other day and she texted me a picture of herself. Christina Andreas
Yeah.
was the first singer that ever hit a huge nerve in my soul. I was probably 11. I went to see On Your Toes. I've often told this story. It was at the Virginia Theater. I was celebrating my birthday. I was turning 12, and my mother took me to see the show, and I started crying. I was crying. I don't know what to, it wasn't that I wanted to be in it. It was that I'd encountered something so beautiful. And I'm told, and I kind of remember the sentences. I said, who are these people? How did they get up there? Like, how did they get up there? Who are these people?
Yeah,
How did they get up there? And to think that Christine Andreas is now texting me is just insane. Um, and
it's fabulous.
so I think it had something to do with the energy of that show, the language. I loved Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms, all those songs
Yeah.
about all the big classical composers, which you as a great singer would know all the names. Probably you could write your own lyrics. Um, so I loved the language. I loved the jazz in it. I loved the Slaughter on 10th Avenue Jazz
Oh,
Ballet. I
yeah.
loved There's a Small Hotel. So there's something in the swing and the jazz of Rodgers and Hart, not Rodgers and Hammerstein, but
Hmm.
Rodgers and Hart.
Hmm.
It just was everything to me.
Hmm.
And I retraced those steps most of my concerts. What was it? I love jazz. I always have a jazz inflection in my concerts, and I'm attracted to jazz musicians. Not romantically, but I have a tennis
Understood.
player as a husband. Yeah, but anyhow, so that's how I first got interested in singing, you know. And you, what was it?
Oh my gosh. For me,
Yeah.
I think I was about 4 or 5 when I was riding my bicycle in a small town in Oregon. And I would make up songs and I would stop and I would sing. And I realized I had a vibrato even then. And I said to myself, I'm going to be the best singer in the world. And
Ah,
because I had the influence of my mother, who had been an entertainer in Los Angeles for some time, I was kind of led into it. We used to stay up watching old movies, and that was my entree into the world because we lived in a very, very small town. Um, but it didn't take long before I was really committed to it. I mean, like I knew what my path was. What was it the same for you? I mean, did
mhm.
did your when you started to cry it on your
Oh,
toes, did your mom
that
respond?
minute. Yeah, my mother started to figure it out. You know, I was a gymnast, and I did a talent show at the gymnastics camp, and that went well. I was a Playboy bunny, and that was successful. That was my first characterization. Um, and then she sent me to a summer camp at the end of that summer. She switched me over because my I hurt my knee. It was hurting. It was the same year, and she said, "You know what? She loved that show. I'm going to send her to theater camp." And I spent the last 3 weeks of the 9 week session. I joined the camp at the end of the summer and got a sexy part. I got the part of Hedy LaRue in How to Succeed in Business Without Really.
Fabulous.
And there might be a kind of contrast between the fact that I was always kind of an intellectual girl with giving me all the sexy parts. Like I enjoyed that. I never thought of it as demeaning. I never thought of it
Mhm.
as anything except a fun adventure. And maybe I lent the characters a little less of victimhood, by being a smarty pants. So, but I put on the accent, the dumb accent, because I had a perfect Long Island accent to draw on. So I was like, Mr. Whatever, she talked like this, I thought that was funny, so I was putting on a character and I really enjoyed it. Then I started to take voice lessons and get, more proper training and more serious. I did more musicals at school. I did Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh, wonderful.
Bye Bye Birdie was a really good experience. I moved
Mm.
to another school. It was sixth grade, and they gave me the leading part, playing Kim McAfee. And I liked that. I wouldn't say I love that music, but I loved being in the play. And my mother said that when I opened my mouth to sing, all the parents were looking around, she said. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I'm a mother of 3 kids. It happens sometimes when your kid does something and everybody goes, your kid is unbelievable. But I guess when I was singing that musical, my mother said everybody turned around. My dad says they just knew. Everybody just knew.
Isn't that exciting?
So It was just a natural sound. I don't know. You may
Yeah,
have trained your voice, better than I did, but I've always had a naturalness about
yeah.
my.
You very much do. Your delivery is very natural. In fact, I had a voice teacher once who said to me, if you can sing any torch song beautifully, then you can sing anything in the world. I'll
Did you
never
really?
forget that.
Yeah, but you studied classical music,
I
right?
did, I did. But in
Yeah,
the beginning, I wanted to do what you're doing. I had it all set out. I was going to be the next Ginger Rogers. It was just unfortunate
oh,
that I was several decades too late. I mean, things had changed. And I decided to stay with classical music because when I was about 13, I was literally seduced by a classical concert. And I have to say that when I was young, my parents always had fantastic recordings in the house. We always listened to Nelson Riddle, big bands, and then we would listen to Beethoven symphonies, and it was always around, Melissa. So
mhm.
I felt that I grew up with a kind of ear of natural ability to make arrangements and a really
Mhm.
good ear for harmony. So when I was seduced by classical music, I
Keep
just
saying
couldn't go
seduced.
back.
I'm waiting for the whole story.
It's a good one. One of these days we'll have coffee and I'll tell you all about it.
Was
But
there a classical gentleman involved
no, it
in the
was
story?
literally
Oh,
the music because believe it or not, I went to a choral
believe it or not.
conference. A choral conference. And I literally sat upstairs and I listened to Stravinsky's Symphony of Psalms, which is an extraordinary piece. And at that age, it's a complex piece, but I felt that I understood it. I felt that I knew the inside of Stravinsky's music. And I think, Melissa, that was the thing that really seduced me, that I knew I had something special for that. Just like you knew that you had something special for On Your Toes, and you could go beyond Bye Bye Birdie, because
Yeah.
actually in the world of musicals that's quite limited for a person like you with your skill set, and you were destined for My Fair Lady. I mean, really.
Yeah, I was kind of destined for My Fair Lady, actually. It's true. I think I was destined for it because of the director, who I did fall in love with, actually, and I was seduced by.
Do tell.
Well, everybody knows. It's ancient history. It was in the newspapers and things at the time. It was a gossip thing. He has passed away anyway, but I was absolutely smitten with him. And one of the reasons I was smitten with him is because I shared an understanding and a vision. He was
Mhm.
so brilliant. So I'm not making light at all of the relationship. He was a visionary and had a political feeling about My Fair Lady that's a little different than the traditional romantic view. The idea that Henry Higgins is a scientist and he is a professor of phonetics. He's an expert in phonetics, and he believes in the power of and the power and the detail of speech,
Mhm.
using the mouth to form vowels, consonants, and the way that you speak uh, has a correlation in social echelons.
Of
That
course.
he fully believed that he could take this girl. He was just having a chat with Colonel Pickering, and he just uses her as an example. He could see she was spunky, and he could see she's a good salesperson, because the very beginning, the very opening of it, she's telling someone off. She gets tripped over by Freddie. What is the opening of My Fair Lady? She goes, "Ow, two bunches of violets trod in the mud, a full day's wages. Why don't you look where you're going?" She's smart. She's like, "What's your up with you? Why don't you look where you're going?" Like, hello. She's smart. She's not going, "Why don't you look where you're going?" That would be played by that type of actress, right? A
Yeah.
whimper. But
Yeah.
I wasn't wimpy. And she's not wimpy. She knows exactly her value, and she doesn't need to get kicked and trod in the mud. Why don't you look where you're going? You have a part to play on the sidewalk, and so do I, right? So she has a natural sense from the opening sentence of her worth. She just doesn't speak well. And Higgins sees that and says, "Ah, do you see that?" Because he sees character and sense of self. But if I could just change the language, the sound of the language, that girl could pass as a duchess at the embassy ball. Now, Howard wanted not only that I have this it's sort of a natural attraction, a beauty or whatever. She's a good looking person, but he had me dressed like a boy so that I was totally independent, so
Okay.
that I completely fit in, so that there was something almost gender free about her, that she was already she wasn't charming people for the flowers. She wasn't using her sexuality. She's
Mm-hmm.
selling the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
good. These are good flowers. I have a good product and I'm selling you a good product.
Yeah.
And she's hanging out with the boys. And she's able to, as we were thinking about it, protect herself from being raped and other things, as many flower girls were.
Right.
And so he had me in pants and boots, like a little like a Charlie Chaplin almost. So she was smart and free. When, so in Howard's interpretation, and I don't know if you asked me this, did you ask me what his interpretation was? Oh, you said I
No.
was destined to play it. So I'm just proving that, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
because still love to rattle on about it.
I'm loving that.
But she goes to his door. She's still dressed a little better, maybe. I think we may put a
Yeah.
scarf on or something. And I said, I've come to have lessons, I have, and to pay for them too. Make no mistake. So she's going to pay for a service. And they make a deal. He says, okay. And he takes her on as a student. As he teaches her, he puts her in the bath. He needs to clean her up. That's where we did something different that's ever been done in My Fair Lady. We reinstated the bathtub scene from George Bernard Shaw. The bathtub scene is important because she takes all her clothes off and she has to be cleaned. And there's a huge fear involved in that. It's a total violation in a way of her control over everything.
Right.
And they take her clothes off. They actually force her in the tub and she's screaming. And you won't like it, but as a voice teacher, I was asked to scream several times actually in a sound studio so that they could have shriek.
Ah, okay.
I did hurt my voice in that voice session,
Mm.
screaming. So they wouldn't have to do it every night. I should never have done it, but that's the hindsight. So Eliza is now taking her lessons in a beautiful blouse and a skirt. So as she learns to be a lady, she starts to dress like one too.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels nice. She
Yeah.
likes how it feels, I think, and it feels beautiful, right? And she starts to be more feminine, attracted to him, but he's a bit of a jackass, right? But everybody knows Higgins is tough. But they're attracted to each other because they're equal inside. She was never a little victim. She was never a soft little girl in a
That's right.
skirt.
That's
So,
right.
but this beautiful thing, the two equal minds, but these completely different people, a woman, a man, a younger woman, a student, a teacher, this unbelievable vibe. I ended up having a similar vibe with with the director, but I did. But
Of course.
I just did. It just happened.
These little things happen. Mm.
It happened. It did happen. But what's interesting is that when she does pass as a duchess at the embassy ball, then she says, "What's to become of me?"
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, well, and he was going to say, what's available to her is to sell herself in the marriage market now.
Mm-hmm.
That she was free in the other market before. In
Right.
her mind, she was free. She looked like she was dressed in her slacks as she wished. She was selling things and she had her independence. And now she doesn't have her independence. She was given her upper class position
Yes.
without her feminine independence, without her life, a human independence. So it's a very interesting interpretation, and it was strong. And he believed that a lot of things were going on at the time about science creating people, and also this kind of disregard for the whole person. And Frankenstein was being written in the same year. This idea of
Interesting.
a scientist socially engineering a person.
Wow.
So the idea that he just engineers this person and then he's like done with her. So the whole thing had a slightly more uh, social commentary quality to it than it even has
Right.
built into it. This idea that social engineering was happening. We're still doing it now with AI and all.
Absolutely. No question.
Playing around, cloning, and we're playing around with these big issues of who's inside,
Yeah.
who and what a
Yeah.
person is, what a person is, and
And ownership with AI.
ownership,
It's so yeah, it's interesting you bring
manipulating.
that
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, because I'm a
In
narrator.
opera, we speak quite a bit about a woman really is never her own master. She's daughter to a father, and then she's given to a man. And I'm talking about romantic opera now, and you rarely ever see that independence. And you bring that up. It's interesting, Melissa, because Eliza actually had a work ethic, as you say.
Oh
She
yeah,
she
she had
knew
a
what she
job.
could control.
Yeah, she had a good job, and she was good at it. Um, she was intrigued though when she heard that. She saw an opportunity to
Hmm.
self-advance,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so she
Hmm.
took the opportunity. She had money. I've come to pay, I've come to have lessons. I haven't to pay for them too. Make no mistake. Well, here I
Hmm.
am ready to pay, and he treats me as if I was dirt. So she
Hmm.
knows, like she says to Pickering, "What's up with him? I'm here, ready to pay, and he
Yeah.
treats me as if I was. What's his problem?"
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, she makes good points. So anyway, it's a wonderful play, and it was life. There's huge life transition for me to be
For
a young
you.
girl to get a part like that, to be on Broadway and such a
Yep.
big role, to have responsibility like that, to navigate an injury, which I did, to fall in love, which I did. It was a lot going on. It was the
I
theater
bet.
backstage has often been as interesting as the theater on stage.
Of course, my dear.
And,
Most
and
of the time, yeah, much more. And the romance. What happened with the romance?
what happened with the romance?
Hmm.
Well, he has since passed away, but well, I didn't. I stayed with him for a long, long time, just up until the time where I met my husband, who I had known as a child. But the I separated from him, being worried about getting married. The age difference was approaching 3 decades.
Mm.
So it
Mm.
just, my mother had breast cancer at the time. They were similar
Mm.
age. I was scared, and I was so young. And I
Yeah.
think, you know, I did do the right thing. I mean, I've been so blessed that I met Patrick. I knew Patrick as a child, and so he came to my one of my brother's concerts, and who's a guitar player, and his mother had set us up. His mother had said, "Go find that actress from nursery school." Patrick was a professional, very well-known professional tennis player, and he had injured his arm. And Mrs. McEnroe said, "Well, why don't you look up your childhood friends?" Because he hadn't been around since he was a teenager, hadn't been around New York City,
Right.
didn't really have any social life in a normal sense because he was a
Hmm.
tennis player.
Hmm.
And Mrs. McEnroe said, "Why don't you look up your childhood friends? That Melissa from nursery school, she's always in the New York Times, and she's doing these things on Broadway. The brother is a singer." And he looked us both up. I wasn't listed. My brother was listed. He came to my brother's next concert, and the rest is history. I don't know that I would have been able to fall in love that deeply with anyone except someone who had known me before.
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's interesting.
Someone, because it's like there was an automatic naturalness and love and warmth and comfort
Oh, that's
um,
lovely.
between us because we shared a childhood.
Yeah. At age
Yeah.
what, 4 or 5? I mean,
A little, and all the way through, he remembered the name of my dog. I remembered the name of his cat. He remembered details about my house. He was my older brother's inseparable best friend when we were kids. So,
wow.
so
Wow.
I
This is
tore
special.
myself, I tore myself out uh, of a professional love affair, really a
Hmm. Hmm.
profound and serious love
Hmm.
relationship.
Hmm.
Uh, Having misgivings about the age difference and never really coming to terms with it. When he passed away, uh, I felt so conflicted because just was so
Of course.
grateful and loved him so much, and so I've just been very blessed, and I care about his children. So if they were to watch this, it's super important that that respect is always understood, and his wife, because he did get married after that. Uh,
Okay.
Much in
Okay.
love. So all the respect really is flowing, and I was just at the complete height of my inspired youth, really,
Hmm.
and My Fair Lady is a huge part of it. But
That's
I've had a
right.
million lives since then. but I will never forget that. And I might someday like to take his um, vision and see if I could realize it a little more because he was stopped a lot by the Broadway producers. They didn't want things to be so scientific.
Oh, okay. I
Like,
can imagine.
like
Hmm.
my coat was black, and by the time we opened on Broadway, it was purple. And the scarf I came in with was gray, and then it was pink.
Okay.
Even the
Okay.
thing became a little bit girly.
Yeah, yeah. Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
What a
Yes.
baptism by fire for you. You went from 0 to 60 like that, didn't you? I mean,
Did. I did.
literally.
And as a teacher, you probably fear that sometimes for your own students. It's
Sometimes.
probably good and bad in different ways.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
think the
think I've,
life of a
yeah.
performer is one that's filled with a lot of drama. It can be filled with a lot of trauma, but mostly we adhere to the drama because that is just in our DNA. And but I think that you are a girl with a level head. And it's interesting. To all my listeners, we're speaking about Melissa's husband as being Patrick McEnroe, the brother of John McEnroe, of course, the sports commentator and the professional tennis player.
Mhm.
But he's not really out of your world when you consider the discipline and the performance factor of being any professional athlete is very similar to being a performer on stage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I met him, it was an opportunity to sort of redo my life and rethink how I want to live my life because I actually didn't really want to live my life the way I was at that time. It was a
Yes.
little too erratic
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
intense.
And you were
And
overwhelmed, I'm
I
sure.
was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. And when I met Patrick, I was happy. He was so handsome, so familiar to me, but he also went to bed early. He would eat egg whites in the morning. We looked after each other.
Yeah.
He was playing at the U.S. Open, and we would go to high schools and we would run sprints. And I was pretty fast, so I wasn't beating him, but I was keeping up with him and giving him the excitement, of a partner, a runner. And
Hmm.
we used to do these back and forth exercises, taking care of our bodies and taking care of our minds. Um, and he knows a bit about disappointment because he wasn't John.
Yeah.
And he had to create an ethos of persistence, humility, uh, positivity, because if you concentrate on every ball you miss, you can't play the match. Tennis is built on so many theories that really helped me to be a better person. One of them was to not think about the balls you lose, the points you lose, because when you are Federer and you win a match, you've actually lost just under 50% of all the points
Yeah.
and you still won the match.
Yeah.
So it's this bizarre art form of
It
just
is. Hmm.
learning to lose and learning to win and learning to always focus on the next ball. Another thing he used to say to me was to relax my arm, to
Hmm.
relax my arm because the ball will go faster. The
Interesting. I love
idea that
it.
if I push it when I was out there and want to be like Melissa is going to get this, get
Yeah.
that, and she's so fabulous and all this stuff, that all that effort doesn't necessarily doesn't get the outcome of that you want. You have to learn. It's almost like learn to trust.
Oh,
And
totally, Melissa.
another thing he said on the tennis court was don't run to the ball. Let it come to
To
you.
you. Yeah. Hmm.
Well, I would just stop and think I'm just dating a philosopher.
Yeah. I love that. But again, the correlation to being a singer is so equal.
Oh, yes.
It,
Yes.
it's like, do not reach out for the ball. Do not push the voice. Stand back into your body. Let the body take all the heat.
Ah,
I mean, it's so interesting.
but I think
I've
oh,
got to.
okay, go ahead. There's one other tennis analogy I think you might like because you're making me realize it, which is that I think it's Billie Jean King who says that, tennis looks like the ball going back and forth,
Yeah,
right?
that's
But
simple.
there's never been the same ball ever. There's infinite ways in which the whole thing changes all the time, whether it's wind, the angle,
Yeah.
it's speed, it's the heat of the day, and it's the person who hit it. So there's all these different spins and heights, and literally there's infinite variation in this one repetitive
Motion.
action.
That's
Breathe
true.
in, breathe out. Infinite we've never sung the same note twice.
That's right. That's right. And have we
Man,
been talking on the phone a lot? Have we screamed at the kids? Did we get upset driving into the theater? All of these things that can affect the outcome of what we do.
how do
So
you
finite.
how do you navigate that? It's how do you advise people to navigate the average day, like the wear and tear of the average day?
Hmm. Hmm.
Just don't talk all day. You can't do that.
No, that's not realistic. And I believe firmly, firmly, and I know that if you speak correctly, if you relax the larynx, if you relax the jaw, if you relax your tongue, and you think in a mellifluous fashion and let the air just flow, everything will right itself. I often equate this, don't laugh out loud, Melissa, but I often equate the proper vocal technique with just saying, Darth Vader, Luke, I am your father. And as long as this space is open and you're on the release of
I am
breath,
the Father.
the vocal cords will take care of themselves. It's when we get upset when, let's say you are in a car and you're trapped and you need to be at the theater and you're not there, right? You're going to feel it right here. You're going to feel disappointment right here. You're going to feel if the kids have done something and you're really stressing about it, you're going to feel it right here. And it's our job to sit back and relax out of that clutch, literally.
Mhm.
As far as do not speak, that's totally unrealistic. However, we can change. The one thing we can control is the whole parameter of it. How much are you going to speak on the phone? Are you going to save time for yourself? How much am I going to
Yeah.
care for me? Because your vessel, your body, is your sound. So, I mean, that's really the honest answer to that. And obviously, if you have been singing the night before and you've gone out to a party and you've drunk a lot, you're
Oh,
already paying the price for that. So,
never.
one has to be thinking ahead all the time. And if you do that, you have to know the next day the voice will be maybe 40% there. But if you're singing correctly on that 40%, it will start to revivify itself. But
Yeah.
not you don't want to do that every day. I mean, and speaking as an opera singer where we are not amplified, where the power of the hookup of the body with the voice is everything,
Hmm.
it's really critical. For someone with a microphone, you have a lot of room to play. But
Hmm.
as you know, if you're tired and you're vocally tired, it may not come back. You need a couple of days just to rest, or you need at least one good day to rest the voice.
Yeah.
But
I
that,
don't go to the doctor very often. Like I don't analyze it, you know.
mhm,
I don't
mhm.
analyze it because I don't want to get into just picking away at it. But
I
every now
understand.
and then
Yeah,
I go and I'm always so relieved when they look white. I'm just like, oh, thank
I
God.
know.
Oh, there's no happier day of my whole life. I swear to God. When I go and they're just two little white things, perfect. I'm like, I'm so happy.
That's all you want to hear, Melissa.
Yeah, that's all I want to see is white vocal cords. I swear to God, I don't need to ever have a glass of wine. I don't really care about any I'm not really a beverage person. So when I hurt my voice when I was super young, I became very conscious of, reflux and alcohol and I would never
Yes,
smoke or just
yes,
I don't
yes.
have I don't have the luxury to be the kind of person that not luxury, but I just was so grateful to get to be Humpty Dumpty and come back together again that I don't want to I didn't want to risk it.
So this vocal challenge was really during My Fair Lady? Was that it?
Yeah.
Just from the
Oh yeah.
screaming?
From screaming. In fact, I went to Dr. Gould, who was a very famous. Do you remember Dr. Gould?
Yes, I do.
Dr. Gould was a legend. He did Maria Callas's voice,
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, all the presidents, JFK. He was really, really, really old when I met him. And he looked at my vocal cords. He says, "What have you been doing? Screaming?" And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Yeah." And he
Mm-hmm.
goes, "You should see it. I had a
Mm-hmm.
hemorrhage. It was not a huge deal, but it is a huge
It
deal because
is. It is.
yeah, because then you have to heal it and you have to
Mm-hmm.
hope it stays healed. And
Yeah. You just
oh
want to
God.
avoid surgery at all costs. But yet, so many have had surgery. And the reigning doctor right now is really Dr. Stephen Zeitels in Boston, who can actually reconstruct cords now. And of course, Julie Andrews went to him after her surgery. Adele, of course, that was well documented. And it's interesting.
Well, full disclosure to those who might just wonder if I don't respond, he did a surgery on me too. He did.
All right.
Yeah, I might as well be honest about it. He did. Yeah.
And
Because
was it a happy experience?
absolutely perfect. In fact, I think I owe him, knock on wood, everything. It's like, but
So does Steve Tyler, my dear, and Elton
that,
John and all the
yes,
rest.
That My Fair Lady experience was rough. And
Hmm. I'm so
because
sorry.
there was no advanced medicine at that time. Um, uh, so many years later, I had a hemorrhage on the other side.
Oh no.
Something to do with the relation and something. And Zeitels went in and he had all these magic lasers now. You see, he knows so much.
Right.
And it was, knock on wood, it was just a magnificent experience.
Oh, my
And
God, you're so fortunate.
I'm so fortunate. He said it's really easy to fix these little problems now. I never had a nodule or any kind of abnormality that made it asymmetrical. It was a
Hmm.
vulnerability based on one scream. And
Hmm.
My Fair Lady revisited me. And as my dad said, when I met Zeitels, he said, "You waited 20 years or something to meet that man."
Yeah.
My father's a surgeon. So
Okay, now I understand.
Zeitels kind of cleared up,
Okay,
uh,
okay.
you know, that
Did the right thing.
blood vessel I had there. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're all gone because you couldn't do that in the 90s. They didn't know how to get rid of them.
That's right.
You
That's
can have
right.
symmetrical vocal cords, but if there's a light blood vessel in there, they're gone now because he knows how to just make them all go away.
Isn't it wonderful? And do you
God
know how
bless
many
him.
opera singers he's taking care of?
God bless him.
Hundreds,
Seriously.
hundreds
I
from all
swear to
around the
God,
world. You know,
he's
I'm
a
I-
hero.
I'm I really appreciate it that you're sharing this with me right now because a lot of people don't like to. But I think full disclosure is important for younger singers coming up. And you and I know that
Yeah.
the schedule that is punishing to Broadway and to or shows every night, that's something you have to learn to deal with, and you have to learn to deal with it in a very, very healthy way.
Well, and to be honest, I have three daughters, and
Mhm.
one of them has a slightly raspy voice. And I had her looked at,
Oh,
and I think we have a genetic. I think it was all genetic. My grandfather used to tell my mother when I was born that I went hoarse a little when I would cry as a baby, as an infant. So it might have been that I had a weak blood vessel from birth. Very
interesting.
small capillary. We're talking about the people out there that are listening to this may be like, what, a vein? It's like the
Hmm.
strand of hair. It's like a little tiny thing, but it might have been a I may have had a little genetic
Interesting.
abnormality in there. Yeah,
I'm
because I
sure
have
you're
a
probably
daughter.
right. Yeah.
Yes. We've
Isn't
talked
it?
about it. Me and my daughter, she knows. I think I might get hers fixed, because she went hoarse and we saw it. I don't know if we would still see it now.
Interesting. I would
Yeah, I
be
think
very
so.
interested to see if it really changed the timbre of the voice. It might not.
For my daughter?
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, I don't even know if they could operate on it unless it was injured. Like, I don't even know if they could see it now. But
Hmm.
she had been bungee jumping and she was a little girl and she went hoarse and I took her to a doctor because I thought, interesting, because I've been, trying to do you know, uh, uh, the background really of my own self,
Yeah.
as I'm getting
Hmm.
older now and I have children who have grown up. And so, anyhow, I've been so blessed. He's such a good doctor, and there's such advances in science. So, if any young singers are listening, they should be, calm. All
Yes.
these great singers, you have no idea the stars who I know now who've had little problems like mine, like everybody. So,
Everyone.
like
Everyone.
everybody on Broadway right now, like it's incredible.
That's
So,
right. It's
it,
inevitable because of the overusage of the voice. And of
yeah.
course, singing when you're ill, singing on top of steroids,
That's how it happened the second time was I was ill singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
happens. Believe me, it happens to the best of us. It's not
Yeah.
a bad thing. It's just a part of the reality of being a performer and using your voice. But everybody needs to know. It's just like Patrick telling you about relaxing into the shot. If we can learn to relax into using the larynx, we will be so much better off for it and we will have staying power.
Yeah, I probably, there's probably things that had I done, maybe these things would have been, delayed or I mean, I've thought of everything, but um yeah. So We
I've got to
can.
ask you one important question. So, childbirth and the voice. Tell me,
Yes. Oh, I worried about that too. I thought, oh, now what's going to happen with this?
hmm did the voice change at all?
Uh, I have been enjoying singing more and more. I've been on up. I just, I enjoy it more and more every day.
Okay.
So I
Did
don't
you?
think motherhood hurt it. I'm also a mother now so long.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Menopause is what I'm concerned about.
That's
True
another variable.
menopause. Yeah, true menopause might not be so good. You know, that is the lack of moisture, not having your period,
It's the hormonal balance and the imbalance, but there are ways around that with HRT. For myself, full disclosure, I have never done HRT. My voice, I've managed to keep the upper partials in it. I haven't lost a lot of my high voice, and I felt that if, as long as I keep working, my voice is still responding well. And I think it should, Melissa, up until you're 75, 80. I mean, again, let's look at Marilyn
I
May,
just
who,
went to Marilyn May's thing. Yeah. I'm
who
going
you've
again
written about.
tomorrow night. And I wrote about her in the Times. I'm going to her show tomorrow night again, uh, and then again actually. So,
Oh
and
my
I've
gosh.
already been to it. It's so fun, and she's so um, I don't even know if she thinks about her singing. I think she literally just goes on stage. I don't even think I think she checks it. I said to her, "Do you warm up?" She goes, "That's what the first song is for."
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. That woman can still kick like she's a rockette. And I've got to share with you that pre-COVID, I went to one of her shows at Birdland, and I went with the great and the late Dawn Trenner, one of the wonderful musical arrangers for the Steve Allen Show, of which,
Mhm.
of course, Marilyn May was very much a part of.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing them together backstage after all those years, oh my God. I mean, she was in her 80s. Don was 90 then. I was doing a project with Don. He was a lovely man. And Ted Firth, of course, musical arranger.
Mhm.
It was like a meeting of the wows, literally.
Yeah. I was with him all day today because he's the musical director of the Story of a Rose, which is this concert I think you mentioned at the beginning
That's right.
that I'm going to be doing. So he's creating all the arrangements and helping to find this show. It's really unique. It's really
So, but
hey,
this
he said,
is
I really believe in this. I said, oh, good.
this is such an unusual show, but yet it's so exciting. Was this your baby? Was this your idea?
Well, not really. I've been using the material of my Italian immigrant family
Hmm.
for about 10 years in my concerts for various thematic reasons. My first sort of thematic concert I did was actually about silence. It was about women and their voices, and it was before Me
Ah,
Too. It was about women and things that they don't say. So it's a
right.
little bit like, the Me Too movement anyway, because I have my own connection to that. But but my grandmother wanted to be a singer, and she was stopped by a jealous husband. Her sister got discovered by Ziegfeld and became a Ziegfeld Follies girl. And those were silent, and then did
Wow.
silent films. So while beautiful, she's also not heard. So I used those silent women in my mother's kind of sculpture, but she's a little bit has a bit of issues, like she's so passionate, and I think that she sings through me. If it, as you were, it's almost like we're like ventriloquists. I kind of
Okay.
sing her emotions. I am very important to my mother. I love my mother. Um,
That's so beautiful.
so the family history of these women from this time, they came to America and they were seamstresses sewing uniforms for the First World War. I've used the stories of them and the Ziegfeld Follies repeatedly a lot in the last 2 years because I did a second Sondheim album, and he has a musical, obviously called Follies,
Hmm.
about those girls, women just like my Aunt Rose, who were dancing at the New Amsterdam Theater, which was being torn down, and the musical has all these older ladies come back, and they're remembering their beautiful youth. So Aunt Rose is exactly the people from the show. Somebody saw me in this show and said, you know what? well, this man is the president of the Doughboy Foundation in
Oh,
Washington.
mhm.
His goal is to have the First World War memorial remembered, uh, memorialized in various ways. And for 14 years, he raised money to build the first national World War One memorial. It's a statue. It's 60 feet long, and they just installed it in Washington across the street from the White House. So he did this amazing thing, and he approached me, having seen me in a concert by coincidence in the Chesapeake Bay area, where all the military engineers and very upscale families come. I did a performance, and he heard me talk about the First World War, just in passing.
Right.
And he said, "Could you develop that into a concert?" And I said, "Sure, maybe. I'll try." And I've been studying the First World War for a year. Took a long time. If somebody asked you, like right now, like, what's your favorite song from World War One? Could you think of even one? I couldn't.
Over there. Yeah, literally.
That's it. Well, that's in the.
But that, yeah, it's a good project. It's a
It's a great
fantastic
project.
project.
It's a great project. And what I learned is that vaudeville and the Follies was all the social media that they had.
Mm,
It was where people heard music. There was no recorded music. There was no talking films.
right.
That's how you would learn a song. You'd go and hear it on stage at the vaudeville theaters. So having this closeness to vaudeville and to the Follies in my family history made me learn the music of the time that all would have sounded like the music she sang and danced to. The reason I call it a reverie is because she danced later in the 20s. And though she was young and was a seamstress and was a child laborer, she was discovered by Ziegfeld when she was too young to perform. I think there's a sketchy story there, but I don't quite know it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, I think there's a sketchy story. Um, however,
Hmm. Interesting.
I use the word reverie so that I can just explore the First World War with the things that I'm drawn to, so that
Okay.
the Follies is mine to play with because it's true. She was in the Follies, just not the Follies of 1917. But I've learned all the music from the Follies of 1917 and the other important years, 18, 19. I also just curated a set list of music from 1914 to 1918, which covers the war itself. Because a lot of songs like it's a long Tipperary,
Yeah.
it's a long
A
way
long
to
road to Tipperary. Yeah.
that comes from the London music halls. It's the same aesthetic, it's the same environment. The London
Okay.
music halls, it became a marching song, and the soldiers used to march to it. So I've studied all this music and learned British music like Roses of Picardy. And what's interesting too is Tipperary was so popular that it was sung by Russians, French. So I've learned it in different languages, which
Oh,
is for,
interesting.
yeah.
Very
Um,
interesting. What are your favorite songs?
on a belle voix. Tant repris en chair mille voix. It's so funny. It's a long way. So I'm telling the story of the war using the popular song and vaudeville music of the time and letting you know why I've always been fascinated by it, that it's the material of my family that always interested me. And
Hmm.
with some room for fantasy,
Hmm.
I think I can give you a feeling of what the past felt like because I can definitely give you a feeling for what it sounded like.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So it should
Very
be it's
reflective.
follies. So I have all follies. I have a beautiful follies dress. Then I
Oh,
have a military thing, and then I do contemporary wear at the end. And I'll be doing more reflections on the war, singing Irish folk song, The Last Rose of Summer,
hmm,
and like not like Joan Baez, but a little more like a modern chanteuse who's thinking about the
hmm,
war and
hmm.
just letting people grieve a little, and maybe the vaudeville of it fades away at the
Right,
end,
right.
or just me.
And once again, Ted Firth is your
Oh
worthy
yeah,
partner.
oh yeah, oh my God, he's amazing,
Tell
absolutely
tell
amazing.
me what the Ted Firth experience is really like.
It's more professional than you'd think, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, he's he's very aware that he is a support. If you have a vision, he intuits it and will play into it. But he's not going to come at you with an idea. He's not
Okay.
going to come at you and say, let's do this music. There are exceptions after 15 years together. We have had a few times where we have brainstormed together. It's very rare, but we're capable of that. But that's not what the Ted Firth experience is like. The Ted Firth experience is like, if you have a dream, if you have a vision, nobody can, well, a lot of people can support you well. I don't want to say that because there really are so many fine musicians. He's in he's a poet inside, and so he can intuit what
Oh,
you need and color
oh,
the music around
oh, I
you
love this.
so uniquely. So he's he's modest. He's more modest than his fame would make you think.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's
So
modest. Yeah.
this is really collaborative for you.
Oh, well, he sees me running around now, singing all these war songs, and he's just kind of arranging. And
Hmm.
we've arrived at an idea that we're in the war at the top of 1917, then we backtrack, and I explain who I am and how much I love the Follies. So the music at the beginning should sound, therefore, very period, like and done just the way it would have been done. Then when I step off the Folly stage and I put a bathrobe on, I say, well, I kind of say, I invite you to the show. And I say, why are we here? Why are we in the Follies? Like I become like a teacher. So then we're in the language of Melissa, right? Because we're not in that time.
Hmm.
So then I sing Roses of Picardy, but he plays it like it's a little Kurt Weill-esque, but he's
Ah,
not making it operatic. He's not making it square and operatic like it probably would have been sung. He's making it alluring and kind of mysterious. Melissa's taking us in a reverie. So he plays the reverie idea with my second number called Roses of Picardy. But we've established who Aunt Rose is.
right, right.
So there's a lot of war music that incorporates the metaphor of a rose, the fragility of a rose in terms of it doesn't live long, but it's a strong, obviously beautiful, strong flower with a thorn. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of war music with roses in it, which is interesting. And
How
I,
fascinating.
my avatar in this is Aunt Rose. So I have the rose, and then I go all the way over to stage right and I backtrack and I show you the family objects. I was thinking of bringing them to the interview, but I have a like a framed picture of Aunt Rose. I have a box of love letters between my grandfather and my grandmother. He fought in the First World War. I have a little crystal box of buttons. They were seamstresses, and Aunt Rose continued to sew all her clothes her whole life, and so did Nona, my grandmother. I have a box of buttons, and in it, there is a few little kind of rusty buttons, but they have eagles on them. They're probably from sewing uniforms at the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Navy Yard. Uh, so I have these family treasures. I have the Follies numbers. I have explaining and magical kind of numbers. And then I show you these objects and I explain that I've always been interested in the past. And we sing a very whimsical version of I'm Old Fashioned.
Oh, lovely.
And that's Jerome Kern slightly later, slightly more mature. So,
Hmm.
but I'm showing you, and I tell the audience that this is the great American songbook, that the arrival of the war, the arrival of real American music, and the arrival of my family were all entangled together
Wow.
in one story. And so that sets it all up. Now, Ted follows my mind all over the room and plays. And by the end, when I'm in modern dress and I'm reflecting, his style in the piano is more contemporary. So even though we're
Mm.
singing old music, we
Uh,
never depart from old music. It's just how he scores it
yeah,
because he's
yeah.
I'm trying to say. I would say he's unique in the world in
Oh,
his.
yes, I would too. And there's the brilliance, that of this show. Wow. And this is one performance only on May 7th, I
No,
believe.
it's going to tour. It's going to tour though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's all
good.
set to tour. We'll tour to other cities that are interested in World War I and museums. I think it will be something that we can do over and over again. But at the moment, yes, it's making its premiere. It was due to be at the Kennedy Center, and we moved it to
Mm.
the Schlesinger Concert Hall, which is where a lot of prestigious military orchestras do their shows. It's a big concert hall. And so you can see it on live stream and see this idea for the first time. And then we can, all of us, you and me, your readers, your
Yeah,
listeners,
yeah,
all make it better the next time. But it's worth it because it's American history.
it is.
It's
Yeah,
totally American history. I don't think of it as self-advancement. I think of it as just advancement of, just knowledge.
it's a really interesting project at
It
this
is.
time.
I know,
Politically.
and that's the thing is I've been literally buried in history books for a year and not really thinking that anybody would give a crap, or
Yeah.
whatever. You know.
And look what we're doing now. And
No, they
who's producing this, Melissa?
the Doughboy Foundation, the president of the Doughboy Foundation, and the all the people involved in his military organization, because their interest is remembering what is known as the
Yes.
Forgotten War. And I
Yes.
will be singing all the music of First World War. So you're certainly going to get a memorial in song, that's for sure.
That's quite a production company, the Doughboy. And Gary Sinise, right? Am I right?
Yes,
His
yes. Well,
foundation
he's
is
come on.
involved?
He's come on as an angel, and he's a big supporter now. That wasn't how it started, but Gary's amazing. Now I know him, and it's amazing. He's amazing, and I think,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. What synchronicity here. I love this.
it's
I,
good for the veterans because the music
yeah.
is patriotic, it's respectful, and the United States did a good thing by supporting its allies and it was a really awful war. And
Yeah.
those soldiers died in ways that we still cannot.
Yes, the worst circumstances.
An incomprehensible tragedy, human tragedy. We did the right thing, I guess, by sticking by our allies. And but the fact that it happened at all is it's not my job to make a show that has that agenda. My agenda is to remember the songs that led them to war, that
Hmm.
supported and boosted their morale. There are a few pacifist songs
Hmm.
and reflections on the value of a soldier's life. Those beautiful memorial songs, The Last Rose of Summer, The Lads and Their
Mm,
Hundreds.
that's right.
So, and I'm a mom, and my children are the age of the children who died in this war. So sometimes I could barely get through it. Singing and crying is going to be an interesting
Yes,
challenge. I
it
have to
is.
call you for some tips.
I'll be there for you, I promise. This is
Yeah,
really compelling. I look forward to it.
really
And
cool show. It's a really cool show. It's a making a little opera out of popular song in a
it
way.
is. It is. But what a
Yes.
memory. What a fantastic idea.
I
I
think
love it.
so. I just got to keep it together. I can't even believe it's going to happen one
It
day.
is.
All
Soon.
I ever think about, I know, but I can't actually believe it.
You're going to be fabulous. You're going to be fabulous. Listen, I know you've come from rehearsals all day and you're exhausted, but I've just got to ask you about your French connection. The music of Michel Legrand, the man himself, your mentor, your good friend, and your fabulous, it looks to me like a passion project that you put together, this beautiful recording with what, 100-piece orchestra. My gosh.
Oh, well, that's actually when he was alive.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But Michel Legrand sort of ties to the war in a way because my father served in Vietnam, and during Vietnam, in the United States, Michel Legrand's music became very popular. In
Hmm.
1964, the song "I Will Wait for You"
Hmm.
really meant a lot to all servicemen and all families that were separated in the war. If it takes forever, I will wait for you.
Yeah, beautiful song.
Beautiful song, and that's an anthem to my mother and father. And as I was growing up, my father played it on the piano. He plays the piano all the time. And oh, Michel Legrand this, Michel Legrand that. My mother used to swoon, Summer Knows, The Windows of Your Mind, all of this stuff. To think that one day I'm in LA and I had a Hollywood manager, I've done some TV and film, and she gives me a piece of paper. I look at the paper and it says, New York, they want you to come do an audition. I said, oh, okay. And it's James Lapine directing. Oh, wow, that's
Mhm.
big. That's Sondheim's guy. I said, oh. with a music by Michel Legrand. And I looked at this paper and I turned to my Hollywood manager and I said, Michel Legrand? Michel Legrand wrote a musical. And she says, I know, I love her.
And then
So
you went to your dad and said, guess what? Um,
I did audition, I got the part, and I met Michel Legrand. My
oh my
father couldn't
God.
believe it. And we hit it off. I knew all his music. I loved him. I'd have done anything for him. And when the show was over, he generously came over. Patrick and I were married, and we spent 3 or 4 days going through all his music. And he said, Melissa, if we have a concept, if something comes, we will do a record. If not, And he was the kind of person, if he didn't see it, he'd leave your house and that's it. Goodbye. Well, we went through all his songs. I put together a binder for other students of music. Always do your work, know the music.
Mm,
At any time you can do your work in advance, do it.
yep.
I was really ready. And he had a binder and he was turning the pages and he'd say, no, no, and he would start to play. He'd start to play. And I would sing. And there's songs he thought were good for me and songs he said no.
Uh-huh.
A lot of those no's were Barbara's songs, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Not all of them, but some of them. They weren't as tender as he wanted for me. So
Okay.
I love you. So we're playing, and we made an album, and then he orchestrated it for 100-piece
It's extraordinary.
orchestra, and that's the album that you're thinking of.
Oh my God.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm super proud of it, and I think when all of this is done, and when I've done whatever this chapter is of my life, written the book about chanteuses and songstresses, I think there will always be this wave of romanticism that I have to do
Yes.
Evening of Michel Legrand.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just think I will never not want to do that. I like Sondheim, very intellectual. We could talk about that another time,
That's
but
right.
I love it. It races, it's smart,
Yeah.
it's attacks, it's like layered. But Michelle is not that layered. It's just like, oh, all that does this. It's like it's so it's a sound of romance. It's a
It is.
sound.
It's totally romantic. His orchestrations are so lush. The arrangements, unbelievable. I literally couldn't believe these arrangements. And the fact that he is conducting, I mean, what an experience for you.
Yes,
I adore his music. I'm with your father and with you there. But what an experience for you. You were the only American who was invited to perform at his memorial, the 2-day memorial at Le Grand Rex. I mean, this is incredible.
it was
Incredible.
amazing. It was amazing. I love the company of other musicians. I love the company of Europeans. I
Mhm.
loved being a part of it.
That's so
I,
wonderful.
I had written his obituary in the
In the New York Times in
not the official
2019.
obituary. It's known as the appraisal, and I did write that. Um, and it went over very well with his family and his
Good.
other people, his agents and all of that. So
Good. Oh my gosh, girl, you've got to keep this writing.
thank you.
But before you do, before you go on to your book and the next story, and my gosh, that story
Can't
about
really
Marilyn
write and
Monroe.
be a singer. It's hard because this is so much. This needs care. You
That's right.
can't really be in a bathrobe all day just over your.
No, no, you don't.
Life is
No.
going too fast. I have so much I want to do.
Well, exactly. And you're doing it. I think it's marvelous. And I wouldn't worry about menopause. I wouldn't worry about anything. You're
Oh,
going to be just fine.
and
You've
my
you've got
kids, there's children, by the way.
that's right.
Every single day, I'm discussing things with each girl. Not every day with the college girl now, but they come first. But the
Of
more I
course.
engage in the world and the more I have things going, the more they have things going.
That's right.
It's
That's
interesting.
right. And then there's going to be a big shift when everybody's gone and it's going to be just you and your music again, you know? So
So we'll
exciting
see.
time. Exciting
In
time,
part,
Melissa.
in part, the story of a rose, on top of being a dedication and an education for myself and hopefully everyone else of this music and this time. On another level, this is a a play or a musical piece in which I'm preparing for the empty nest. It's like
Okay.
I'm passing the heritage and my love of song, the Italian immigrant story, even if fantasized a little bit. I'm passing the fun of it all. I guess there's so much fun in the stories and the fun that it was given to me. And I tangle it with the war and I tangle it with the history of American songbook music, which is I know you're an opera person, but I'm not exactly. And for me, this is the great cultural heritage of the
It
United
is.
States.
It is. There's no
Yeah.
question about it. There it
So I
is.
hope they'll remember their mother with this show
They
too.
will. They will. I think it's absolutely divine, the
Pamela
idea.
Kuhn, and they'll say, "My mom, she was doing this thing about World War One, and we have a tape of it," and so
This is really beautiful, Melissa. This is really in depth, and I can see that you're an artist that as you age, you're going to do more of these kind of passion projects, which is
yeah,
really going to leave your legacy. I mean, rich, very rich.
yeah, I think you're right. I'm probably going to go down this road more because it's so interesting to me, and why not? I
Why not?
I could be some guy's wife on a sitcom.
That's
Uh,
right. You could be silent. You could be a lot of things which where you'd be wasting your life. My gosh. But listen, before you go, and I will let you go one of these days, I just have one
okay,
more question for you
that's the
for
power
fun.
of an interview. Go ahead.
For fun, you can have a chance to have dinner one night with anyone who has passed from this earth. Who would you want to have dinner with?
Um, I think Yip Harburg. Do you
Oh
know who
my God.
who Yip Harburg is? The
Yes.
lyrics. Yeah.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
I have a feeling he's really funny.
But why particularly?
Well, I've always been interested in him because he was
His lyrics, his, oh my gosh.
wrote Summer Over the Rainbow. He wrote everything else. He wrote Finian's Rainbow. I think he had a combination of lightness in him
Mm,
and reality. And I would just
hmm.
love to have dinner with him and see what that was like. I think he really struggled as a young boy having to take care of his family at 13 or something, and he ran a business of some kind. I don't remember the whole story, but he then did The Wizard of Oz. He won the Oscar. Then you have the Second World War. He's Jewish. He had so much awareness of the Jewish
Yeah.
experience. Uh, and then Finian's Rainbow, because he's looking at he was so conscious of disrespect and uh, uh, the disease of disrespect and racism and
Yeah.
inequality. And then he writes these beautiful shows like Finian's Rainbow, which are
Right.
so silly. It's so stupid, but it's his goal was to make racism go away. But with a leprechaun who lost his pot of gold, and then the senator got cursed by me by mistake because I did the play a few times. And then the senator's upset because he's black. He changes to black, and the leprechaun is in the woods having an apple, and they meet. And this he says, "You want a bite?" And he says, "No." And he says, "Gosh, what's wrong with you?" And the senator's like, "Can't you see I'm black?" And the leprechaun goes, "Well, I was green a few weeks ago. Don't you find the occasional change of color interesting?" And it says, "You look good to me," like because the leprechaun used to be green and this guy used to be white, and who cares? I love that. It's stupid, but it's not stupid.
It's in the perspective.
It's so I think I just love to have dinner with him because he was funny, but underneath he had a conscience
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
so unique in this earth. And he turned it into art and he made the most beautiful song on earth,
Yes, he
you know,
did.
Somewhere
Yes,
Over the
he
Rainbow.
did.
So I think he wins tonight.
You're right. Such light and such depth.
Such depth, such reality, and look how he gave us so much hope. And yet
Hmm.
he was Jewish and lived through so much persecution. And I think his family history is not just him, but all back in generations. I think the Harbors had it rough,
Okay.
rough. And
Okay.
yet he's so happy and so light in his work, you know?
Like you. Like you.
Well,
So happy in your work. And is there one word or phrase which describes who you are to the depth of your soul? Just what comes to your mind?
um, just feel your feet on the earth comes to mind. I
There
don't
you go.
know.
I like that. You're
Take your shoes.
grounded.
Yeah, take your shoes off. Stay grounded. That's something I've had to learn, and I think you can't go up and be creative unless you have your feet on the earth.
See, and Patrick would agree with you. To be really grounded, let gravity do
Oh
that
yeah.
job.
I think he likes that I have a big butt, because when I play, I I have a good base, he says. I'm like, enough, I hear you, honey.
I love that. I love that. You must tell him that the book Inner Tennis by Timothy Galway changed my life. Just tell Patrick that. He'll understand. And it changed my life in so many ways psychologically, but also as a singer. And it is exactly what you were saying that he was saying earlier about relax, let the ball come to you, and what Billie Jean King said about
Yeah, he
all
and
the
I should write a little
variables.
book. We should write a little book.
You should.
Him and her book. You know, we should. We should.
Melissa
He
Errico,
just, he,
you
he just wrote Tennis for Dummies, by the way. He
oh no, he did. Oh wow, how
just came
fantastic.
out. The new edition just came out like last week.
Very
Oh,
cool.
thank you. Thank
Very
you.
cool. You have been amazing. And I know that your legacy is going to live long and it's going to be just bathed in happiness for your art, and you're going to leave us with all these jewels like the story of Rose. You are.
I hope so. I hope so. Life is life. So thank you for this moment in life. you know.
And thank you for blessing me with it. You've been just an amazing guest. And to all my listeners, you have to really have to discover, if you have not already, Melissa Errico. And you can go to melissaerrico.com and you will find all sorts of goodies about her, but peruse the internet because she's everywhere. And you do want to hear and see this artist, this happy sprite who's come into our lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pamela.
To all my listeners out there, please go to centerstagewithPamelaKuhn.com for more interviews like these. And to everyone, stay safe out there. This is Pamela Kuhn, and the curtain is now down on Center Stage.